Kempire is brought to you by the Kempire After Dark live experience is kicking off 2025 with a bang. We're coming back to Washington, D.C. at Union Stage for another amazing show. If you enjoy hot topics, reality TV, and so much more, every single show is a different experience. If you haven't already, get your tickets now for our return to Washington, D.C. I know it's the inauguration week, but let us be the light at a very, well, maybe not so very, depending on who you ask, tunnel. All right. I'm excited to bring this live show experience back to the DMV area. More information on tickets will be available in the description. And New York City, you're up right after that. For Black History Month, we're bringing back the Kempire After Dark live experience to Green Room 42. And this is going to be a very special show as well. But don't forget, you will have access to a live stream option exclusively for this Kempire After Dark live experience here in New York City. We'll be posting links to all of the shows, and information will be available in the episode notes. And I look forward to meeting all of you in person. See you soon. You're listening to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network. Welcome back to the Kempire Channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So I know you probably were not expecting this, and shout out to the replay crew, but I said, when I have the time, I want to do this story because the story was mentioned to me weeks ago. Weeks ago, this story, a friend and I were having a conversation about this. I had no idea that this was even going on because the real estate world isn't my world, but people in the real estate world were talking about this story. Then literally, as I was, trying to respond to some of the comments of the video that we did last night, if you missed it, guys, we had such a good time last night. And look, we covered some dark stories. And yes, we covered some dark stuff within that story with Jay-Z and Diddy and what they're being accused of. But then we took a sidestep and talked about Matthew Knowles and we took a historical sidestep in regards to celebrity news. So if you missed that, be sure to check it out. You can also hear it on the Kempire podcast. So in checking some of my comments, I saw someone mention this story and I said, oh my gosh, I literally was a story that I was going to do, I think on Friday, because that's when they were recently arrested. All right, so we're going to get into that. But before we do, don't forget to like the video. And don't forget, the Kempire After Dark live experience is coming to Washington, D.C. on Friday, January 24th. And then on Friday, February 21st, we'll be coming back here in New York City for the Kempire After Dark live experience. And for those that don't know what it is, it's not what you get here on YouTube. Yes, we talk about some of the things that we talk about here, but this is an opportunity for all of us to meet as a community. It's an opportunity for me to not have to censor my words or censor my thoughts. We kiki, we laugh, and you just never know what's going to be said or what tea is dropped at these shows. So get your tickets today for the Kempire After Dark live experience coming to Washington, D.C. in January, and then back here for our third show here in New York City. So get your tickets today. Again, more information on that and our podcast and everything Kempire will be available in the description. So, Damian Williams. So you remember Damian Williams was the head attorney over at the Southern District of New York. He recently resigned, and it's not because of anything nefarious. He resigned because that's what happens. His job has been he's being replaced by a pick from Donald Trump. So he resigned, and now he will go off and probably work in the private sector. Who knows? But as you know, he's the attorney at the forefront when it comes to the diddler. And someone made a comment in here. Let me find the comment. Oh, where is it? Someone said, damn it, I missed the comment. Oh, here we go. Tink Tink says, Diddy dropping dimes for real, for real. I don't know if it's that or if just people are just being exposed because of the nefarious things that have been happening in this world of entertainment when it comes to trafficking. All of it's being exposed because, as you saw, we were talking about the former Abercrombie CEO, Mike Jeffries, being arrested for something very similar. But he got bail. Diddy did not get bail. So I just want to kind of give you some history in regards to this story, in regards to these twin brothers that were arrested. Okay. Lord. All right. Let me just start fresh. Let me just start fresh in regards to what the Southern District of New York put on their website. All right. I'm going to have to censor some of my words, so I apologize in advance for those that wonder because YouTube will flag the video. They will limit ads. They will not just limit ads. It's not just about ad revenue. It's also about pushing the video out to a larger audience and getting the news out there. So that is another reason why we will be changing up some of the words or eliminating the words, or you'll have to use your imagination. Okay. So this involves twin brothers and another brother within their family. Alon Alexander, Orrin Alexander, and Tal Alexander were charged in Manhattan federal court with trafficking offenses. This is from justice.gov, the Southern District of New York. They did this with Diddy as well. So let me just go through this with you guys. Look, I'm going to tell you, pay attention, but let me just take my time with what we're talking about here, okay? So Damian Williams, now the former U.S. attorney, U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, and James Dennehy, the assistant director in charge of the New York Office of Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, Jessica S. Tisch, commissioner of the New York City Police Department, announced the return today of a 3-count indictment charging Alon Alexander, Orrin Alexander, and Tal Alexander, and they will be referred to as the Alexander brothers, okay? With trafficking offenses, they say. The defendants were arrested Friday morning in the Southern District of Florida. Why is everyone in Florida? Here's the thing, guys, and I say that because Mike Jeffries, Florida. I know Diddy's known to be a New Yorker, but he also has a home in Florida and spent most of his time in Florida. Just saying, what is going on in Florida in regards to all of these people associated with trafficking accusations? The defendants were arrested on Friday morning in the Southern District of Florida and will be presented in federal court in Miami, Florida. The case has been assigned to the U.S. District Judge Valerie Caproni. So in a quote that they highlight here, they said U.S. Attorney Damian Williams said, as alleged in the indictment, for more than a decade, the Alexander brothers alone and together repeatedly and violently SA'd and R'd dozens of female victims. Today, the defendants are charged with multiple trafficking offenses. The Southern District of New York's investigation is far from over. Sound familiar? Again, this is the same office that's prosecuting Diddy. They said their investigation is far from over. Sidebar, because Damian Williams has resigned, I know he's not the only one working on this, but there is an administration being taken over, and the administration that's taking over, this is a man that has ties to Diddy, that has ties, well, not even just ties, he is a convicted felon. Of similar acts. Okay. If you have been a victim of the alleged sexual violence perpetrated by Alon Alexander, Orrin Alexander, or Tal Alexander, or if you know anything about their alleged crimes, we urge you to come forward. Ugh. So this is what they say in their article in regards to the indictment. So FBI Assistant Director in Charge, James Dennehy, said the Alexander brothers allegedly conspired using their wealth and status to prey on innocent women, coercing them into engaging in sexual acts. We will not allow this type of alleged behavior to go unimpeded. Predators forcefully coercing victims into sexual acts cannot and will not be tolerated. The FBI's investigations into these types of cases are only possible because of the bravery of victims show in coming forward. The FBI, along with our law enforcement partners, are committed to investigating trafficking and ensuring anyone attempting to engage in it is held accountable in the criminal justice system. NYPD Commissioner Jessica S. Tisch said, the charges outlined in this indictment reflect some of the most heinous and dehumanizing crimes of sexual exploitation that our NYPD detectives investigate. I applaud all the members of our joint FBI and NYPD Child Exploitation and Human Trafficking Task Force for their unwavering dedication to identifying, investigating, and holding accountable those who allegedly prey on vulnerable individuals in such despicable ways. According to the indictment, a superseding indictment. Remember, they said this was possibly what was going to happen with Diddy, a superseding indictment, as they continued to investigate, and they said that possible more charges would come. So how many counts are here? Let me just read this. Let me just see. How many counts are here? It's only 8 pages. It's only 8. Look, only. All right, so there's a count 1. Count 1 is conspiracy to commit S trafficking. Okay. Let me see. They have statutory allegations. Oof. Count 2 is S trafficking of victim 1 by force, fraud, or coercion. Count 3, S trafficking of victim 2 by similar force, fraud, or coercion. They have forfeiture allegations as well. Let me see. I'm going to have to bring Stephanie back so we can break down this case as well. But like I said, literally, this has been in like the back of my peripheral vision. Like, oh, I gotta get to that. But as you know, I was traveling for a week in London. So now I'm catching up on some of these stories. All right. So according to the indictment, superseding indictment, and other documents and statements in public record, for at least in or about 2010, remember Diddy, 2008 to the present, they're saying in regards to these brothers, for those that are just joining us, we're talking about these brothers. They were real estate tycoons at one particular point, and now they're facing multiple charges of S trafficking. Okay? And to the 2 people that dislike the video, don't be mad at me that you like people that S traffic. Like, what are you disliking? Like, go get a life. Like, go get a life. Like, what are you here for? Anyways, for at least in or about 2010 up to and including at least in or about 2021, the Alexander brothers, this includes the twins and their other brother, worked together and with others to engage in S trafficking, including, but repeatedly, sound familiar? Drugging, SAing, and Ring dozens of female victims. The Alexander brothers, who reside primarily in New York and Miami, Florida, have considerable social and financial connections, including through Orrin Alexander and Tal Alexander's positions as prominent real estate agents focused on ultra-luxury markets. The Alexander brothers used their wealth and prominent positions in real estate to create and facilitate opportunities to SA women. To carry out and facilitate their S trafficking scheme, the Alexander brothers used deception, fraud, and coercion to cause victims to travel with them or meet them in private locations for various trips and events. The Alexander brothers and others identified women to invite to these events through, among other things, social media, dating applications, in-person encounters, or through the use of party promoters who would recruit women for these events. Which makes me wonder if there's going to be more people arrested, unless they're working with the feds. And again, this is just a reminder that, yes, these people are the face of these allegations, but it has taken the assistance of many other people, including people that helped Diddy make these things go on for years and years and years. So they go on to say the Alexander brothers used the promise of luxury experiences, travel, and accommodations to lure and entice women to these events, and then on multiple occasions forcibly R and SA women who attended. At times, multiple men, including one or more of the Alexander brothers, participated in these assaults. In some instances, the defendants physically restrained and held down their victims during the RNSAs and ignored screams and explicit requests to stop. In advance of the events, the Alexander brothers and others procured drugs that they agreed to provide to the women, including, among other things, cocaine, mushrooms, and GHB. GHB is another drug that was associated with Diddy, which has been in the conversation when it comes to Diddy. On multiple occasions during these events and trips, the Alexander brothers and others surreptitiously, drugged women's drinks. Some of the victims experienced symptoms of impaired physical and mental capacity, including limitations of movement and speech and incomplete memories of events. So this is, and I keep bringing up Diddy because they're so similar. And I know some people, including Diddy's defense team, want to say, these freak-offs were consensual. These people came and hung out and wanted to have a good time. But what the Southern District of New York, what these feds are saying is that they were not in a position to make a decision to have sex with these people. According to the Southern District of New York, in particular, when it comes to the Alexander brothers, they're saying some of these women said no, and they continued anyway. In advance of the events, the Alexander brothers and others procured drugs, as I mentioned, and that they agreed to provide to the women, including, among other things, which we went over. The agreement between the Alexander brothers encompassed numerous other acts of sexual violence in addition to SA during planned trips and events. On numerous occasions, one or more of the Alexander brothers drugged and R'd or SA'd women they encountered by chance, including women they met at bars and nightclubs, social events, and on dating applications. And I'm gonna post this in the live chat as well, because you just never know who might be watching this video and may not have heard the story or may have encountered these men and did not know that this happened. You would be surprised. So I'm gonna post this in the chat, and I'm gonna also post it later in the description of the video for those that are watching the replay. Okay? And shout out to the 3 people that disliked the video because they also support trafficking, apparently. Like, what are you disliking? Not that I care, but I'm just like I don't get it. Look, what are you disliking? If you don't like what you're watching, go somewhere. Alon, who's 37, Oren Alexander, who's also 37, they're twins. For those that don't know who these men are, you might be familiar with them because they were prominent in the real estate business, working for Douglas Elliman. All right. Lala says, sounds like Blink Twice. For the first time, I got to watch Blink Twice on the flight to London. All right. And it's interesting because, Zoe Kravitz is the one behind the movie. She directed, it was her directorial debut. And it is pretty interesting when we're talking so much about all these people of power and influence and money doing all these things. It's kind of crazy how accurate that movie is. You kind of look at that movie very differently when you see these stories. Like, these are real things that are happening. And some people speculate that Zoe Kravitz was sort of like saying stuff without saying stuff. So Alon Alexander, Oren Alexander, the twins, and their older brother, who's 38, all of Miami, Florida, are each charged with 1 count of engaging in trafficking conspiracy, which carries a maximum sentence of life in prison, and 1 count of trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, which carries a maximum sentence of life in prison, and a mandatory minimum sentence of 15 years in prison. Tal Alexander is additionally charged, the older brother, is additionally charged with the 2nd count of trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, which carries a maximum sentence of life in prison and a mandatory minimum sentence of 15 years in prison. So, sidebar, as I said to you before, I've been hearing about this story. Maybe this was like a couple of months ago I heard about this story. Like, people were talking, but there were no official charges. Women were coming forward. Okay? The statutory maximum and mandatory penalties are prescribed by Congress and are provided here for informational purposes only, as any sentencing of the defendants will be determined by the judge. Mr. Williams this is Damian Williams, who's now resigned from the Southern District of New York, praised the outstanding investigative work of the FBI, NYPD, Child Exploitation and Human Trafficking Task Force in New York, as well as the assistance of FBI, Miami, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, the Miami-Dade County State's Attorney's Office, and the Miami Beach Police Department. The case is being handled by the Offices of Civil Rights Unit in the Criminal Division. Okay, the charges contained in the indictment are merely accusations, and the defendants are presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty. So this is directly from the Southern District of New York's press release. So I went to the New York Times because this is where I first read about the story. And I saw the story, I think it was like Friday morning when they were arrested. And I said, you know, when I get back, because I was running around, when I get back, I will talk about this story. Completely forgot until I saw the comment under our video from last night. So shout out to all of you that keep me up to date on stuff and remind me of stuff. Okay? But here's what the New York Times had to say in regards to their arrest. They said Oren and Alon Alexander, twins who were once fixtures of Miami and New York's nightlife circuit, entered not guilty pleas to state charges of sexual battery in a Miami courtroom on Friday morning through their attorneys and were granted bail by a judge. That's important to note because, as you know, very similar accusations they have against them as Diddy. But Diddy has been denied bail 3 times. Last night we went live and we gave you an update. Diddy is going to give up trying to seek bail at this point. So, but they will remain in jail because they face separate federal charges of trafficking. So that's the difference. Okay. The twins, 37, and their older brother, Tal Alexander, who's 38, were arrested in Miami Beach on Wednesday morning. Tal and Oren Alexander had worked previously as real estate agents, brokering some of the most expensive properties in Florida and New York. Again, I'm pointing out these connections, not because I'm trying to come up with a conspiracy theory, but I'm just pointing out the similarities of the 2 other cases that we've been talking about here on the channel. Mike Jeffries, the former Abercrombie CEO, arrested in Florida. Okay? I believe he also had some connections here in New York. Diddy, New York connections, based in Miami, Florida. Wanted to go back to Miami if he got bail. Wanted to stay there. Jeffrey Epstein, Florida. I don't know what's going on down there. Okay. So they said Alon Alexander did not work in real estate, but he attended parties and went to private clubs with his brothers. All 3 brothers face federal trafficking conspiracy charges in Manhattan, accused of using their wealth and status to lure, drug, and then SA&R dozens of women, according to an indictment made public on Wednesday. In addition, the twins faced the sexual battery charges in Miami over 3 separate incidents. Oren Alexander faces charges in all 3 events, and Alon Alexander faces charges in 1. Okay? This is the brothers in court. This is one of the twins in court. In addition, the twins face, we went through that already. Let me just scroll down here. So Friday's hearing concerned those state charges. On the sexual battery charges, Oren, who's in the red jumpsuit, that's the picture I just showed you. This is Oren, because they're twins and they look identical. I don't know if they're identical, but they look identical. But that's Oren. Okay. So Friday's hearing concerned those state charges on the sexual battery charges. Oren Alexander, in a red jumpsuit, which designates him as a high-profile inmate, was granted $3 million bail. Alon Alexander, who appeared in a green protective vest he had worn in court one day earlier, was granted $2 million bail. Okay? Their father, Shlami Alexander, told the court he would offer his home in Bal Harbor, Florida. And if you know anything about Florida, you know that's a very, expensive area, as collateral for both bonds. They come from money. Circuit Judge Lodi Jean ordered both brothers be confined to house arrest with electronic ankle monitoring as well if released. Those orders are mute. However, the brothers are not headed home. Both Oren and Alon will be transferred to federal custody to face the trafficking charges. So an attorney for Oren Alexander said in an email statement that they are grateful and ready to begin to fight this case in court. The brothers are now awaiting appearances in federal court. We believe that the federal judge should respect the state's court's factual findings and should also release Oren and Alon on bail, according to their attorney in a statement via email to the New York Times. In a separate hearing in the U.S. District Court in Miami on Florida, the twin brothers' older brother, Tal Alexander, was denied bail on federal trafficking charges. So their brother was denied bail. U.S. Magistrate Judge Lizette M. Reed told the courtroom that she did not consider Tal Alexander a danger to the community, but she did consider him a flight risk. Tal Alexander, who faces federal charges only, will be jailed pending further proceedings. Deanna Paul, a lawyer for Tal Alexander, said in a text message to the Times that she was disappointed with the decision. We will continue to fight to prove Tal's innocence. Can you, this is happening right before the holidays. What do you guys talk about when the family gathers together and three of your kids are in jail for trafficking for years? Well, maybe the apple doesn't fall. Well, I'm just saying. Okay. So, the brothers' arrests followed months of mounting public allegations against all three. Tal and Oren Alexander had ascended luxury real estate heights, becoming stars at Douglas Elliman, one of the largest real estate brokerages in the country, and then co-founding their own brokerage. Rumors of SA had swirled around them since high school. When I read that part, I said, these guys have had these types of allegations since high school. Now they're near 40, and this is the first time that they've been arrested? Rumors of SA has swirled around them since high school. Okay. They said the state charges include an incident of a woman who told the police that Alon Alexander and Oren Alexander SA'd her while another man, Ohad Fisherman, helped hold her down, according to an arrest warrant and a news conference held by the state's attorney on Wednesday. At that conference, prosecutors identified Mr. Fisherman as a cousin of the Alexanders. See what I'm saying? It's a family thing. Everyone in the family is okay with this? On Thursday in State Supreme Court in Manhattan, that woman, who was a resident of New York City at the time, also filed a lawsuit against Alon Alexander and Oren Alexander. In the complaint, the woman said that on December 31st, 2016, Alon Alexander invited her to a luxury condo in Miami Beach for what he said would be a barbecue and pool party. She has not revealed her identity. When she arrived, the complaint says that she was greeted by Alon Alexander and introduced to both Oren Alexander and Mr. Fisherman, whom Alon Alexander referred to as his, quote, cousin. Mr. Fisherman held her down, the complaint continues, while Oren Alexander SA'd her and Alon Alexander watched. The brothers then switched places, the complaint continues, and Alon Alexander also SA'd her. Through her attorney, Carissa Peebles, the woman issued a statement on Thursday saying, "If my decision to speak out encourages even one person to share their own truth, whether it's about these brothers or anyone else, then this effort will have been worth it." Guys, if you're just joining us, we're talking about these twin brothers that were involved in real estate and their other brother, and apparently one of their cousins. They're referring to them as the Alexander brothers in this indictment, are being accused of years of trafficking, and they're facing life in prison. Mr. Fisherman, who's apparently their cousin, 39, also faces sexual battery charge and has not yet been taken into custody. Jeffrey Solomon, a lawyer for Mr. Fisherman, said on Thursday that his client is not, quote, at large, but rather on a long ago planned honeymoon outside the country. Oh, must be nice. They're allowing him to be outside the country on a long ago planned honeymoon. Mr. Fisherman vehemently denies these allegations and is making plans to return to South Florida to address the charges brought by the Miami-Dade County State's Attorney's Office. Mr. Sloman said in an email. Mr. Sloman also denied that Mr. Fisherman is a cousin of the Alexanders. Okay. During Friday's hearing, Mr. Sloman said that Mr. Fisherman was planning to return to the United States next week and would surrender to authorities on December 18th. Tal and Orrin Alexander's reign as real estate princes came to an abrupt end in June when The Real Deal, a real estate trade publication, first reported that women had filed lawsuits that claimed that they were SA'd by the brothers. 2 women sued Orrin and Alon Alexander for assault. A third woman sued the twin brothers along with Tal Alexander. In the wake of these suits, dozens of other women came forward with allegations of assault against the brothers, including in the Times. 2 days after the Times report, a fourth woman filed a suit against Orrin Alexander. Thursday's lawsuits marks the 5th against Orrin Alexander and the 4th against Alon Alexander. Wow. So as I said to you guys before, I've been hearing about this. This was first told to me by a friend that's in the world of real estate. So I'm guessing in the world of real estate, people have been talking about this story. It was not on my radar. And then literally I saw the update from the New York Times this past week and I said, I'll get back to that. And Miss Cabby says, what a Christmas. I can't even imagine. Charlene says, ooh, the white privilege. Okay. Irene says, special rules when big money talks. Epstein was allowed a day jail with extended hours for his first catch. Oh, I didn't remember that, Irene. Wow. I know, Mr. Mellon imagines. I hate that YouTube doesn't allow you to say certain words without flagging your videos. And honestly, I can't promise you that they won't flag this one because it's just some things I can't censor. But I still am going to do the story. And because so many people have been hitting me up about the story and because it's been something that I've been talking about, there's a lot of stories that I follow, but I don't report on. And this was one of the stories. I wouldn't say that I've been following it, but I've definitely been paying attention. And then when I saw that they were arrested, that's when I said to self, I said, oh, I need to talk about this. And I completely forgot. Shirley says, so is he getting married as a cover-up or not? Who knows? Who knows? But what I said before, and I'm going to say it again, as we go through these charges and these allegations, look, we get it. There are plenty of people doing what Diddy has done, okay? However, it's crazy to me the similarities as we covered the Mike Jeffries story, as we covered the Diddy story, and as we covered the Alexander brothers story. It's weird to me the similarities in what the things that they use to get these women, the states, the different states that they're doing these things. It's interesting to me. And it would even be more interesting to me if there's any real connection between the 3 people or the 3 different stories. Okay. Right? I thought the same thing. Nisi says, or marrying someone who is okay with his ways, or just marrying someone that wants to live a certain lifestyle and turns a blind eye. Or maybe she didn't know. I can only imagine what her honeymoon weekend is feeling like right now when her husband is facing SA allegations. But however, I will remind you exactly what the Southern District of New York said at the bottom of their report, okay? They remind us. They says the charges contained in the indictments are merely accusations, and the defendants are presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty. That is important. I know we say that, and as a world, we don't necessarily believe that. But we're going to continue to follow this story. Stories like this, I honestly believe now that this is getting even more attention, now that these brothers have been arrested, more victims will probably feel safe to come forward. And as the Southern District of New York said, they are currently investigating these brothers, okay? The same way that they're still investigating Diddy. And I'm sure they're still investigating Mike Jeffries. Oh, Irene says one of them is married with a beautiful model from Brazil, Camilla Hansen. We have to remember something too. If any of these accusations are true, if any of these accusations are true, this is not just about sex. These guys aren't just doing this to fulfill a sexual gratification. This is more mental. Like there's something mentally wrong. This is not because they were the awkward guy in school and they couldn't get the girls. Or no, it's honestly, look, if the family is doing it, as I said to you before, look, no one else is facing charges besides the brothers. I just find it interesting that all three brothers are accused of doing the same thing. Makes me believe that they're not the only ones in the family and that maybe allegedly they learned it from somewhere. Just saying. Exactly, Rita. It's not about sex. It's about power. It's about control. But it's also about they're not all there either. They're not all there. There's something that is probably ingrained in them in regards to stuff like this. So it doesn't matter if you have the most beautiful woman on your arm. That's something that you're told to do. All right. Let me see what you guys are saying, and then I'm going to get out of here. I just wanted to make sure I did this video. Tomorrow, I will be live again for our recap of Love and Marriage Huntsville. I did watch the episode, so make sure you turn on your notifications for that. And don't forget to follow me on Blue Sky at The Kempire and on Twitter, as Twitter's still there. But follow me there, and I'm on Lemon 8. That will be the new TikTok. I think that it's owned by TikTok, but now I'm on there as well. Rita says that they're drug addicts. Look, again, very similar to Diddy. A lot of drugs were used in their manipulations and SA and R-ing of women. Funky says, a family full of wickedness. You ain't lied. Tish says the Menendez defense is coming. Something happened to them as youths. Again, and look, does that excuse it? No, but it's something that needs to be discussed because they're saying that these these men have had these accusations of SA since high school, but never faced charges, were never arrested. So this bad behavior has been going on since high school and it was never stopped. Okay. Oh, damn. Okay. See, you guys are my journalist in the chat. Auntie Eva says the wife is 9 months pregnant, about to give birth in Brazil. He asked to be released to be with her and was denied. Can you, first of all, your wife is in Brazil? Oh, maybe well, he probably met her in Miami. I can see that. I don't know, but we're going to continue to follow this story, guys. As always, the same way we're following the Mr. Beast stuff. If you enjoy hot topics, if you enjoy the way that we report things here, be sure to subscribe, be sure to like this video, be sure to share this video, be sure to share our channel. And that's one of the things I always love when I hear from you guys and I meet you in person at the Kempire After Dark live experiences. Like, oh, I turned this person on to you. Keep doing that. Spreading the word. Don't assume just because we have over 500,000 subscribers that everyone knows us. They don't. They don't. Okay. So make sure that you tell a friend to tell a friend. And don't forget, the Kempire After Dark live experience is coming back to Washington, D.C. on Friday, January 24th. We are going to have a good time talking about various hot topics and, of course, some of your favorite reality TV shows. And then we're coming back here in New York City on Friday, February 21st. Be sure, I was just in Pottery Barn and a lady was just like, I know that face. Oh. So I was like, are you going to come to the New York City show? She was like, what show? See? So this is why I keep mentioning it. More information on the Kempire After Dark live experience, Washington, D.C. and New York City shows will be available in the description. New York City, that show will have a live stream option. But if you're in New York City, you have no excuse. You need to come to the show, okay? Okay, come to the show. All right. But there is a live stream option in the description. So make sure you get your tickets for those that are watching from other parts of the United States and other parts of the world. All right. Shout out to our King's Guards. Shout out to our subscribers. Shout out to our channel members. We appreciate you guys being here for this report. We're going to continue to follow the story. If you're part of the replay crew, be sure to let us know your thoughts and your own tea in regards to the Alexander brothers and what you may know about this story. Because I know some of you have been following it and probably have been waiting for me to talk about it. Thank you all for being here. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Saturday. I will see you tomorrow for the Love and Marriage Huntsville recap tomorrow morning. Have a good night, y'all. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Podcast. As always, don't forget to give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And for everything Kempire Radio, head on over to KempireRadio.com.